Good evening to you all. Kindly mute your microphone, each and everyone. Let us start with our universal invocation. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature.
O hidden light, shining in every creature.
O hidden love, embracing all in oneness.
O hidden love, embracing all in oneness.
All in oneness.
May each who feels himself as one with thee.
May each who feels himself as one with thee.
Know he is also one with every other.
No, he is also one with every other.
Let us have meditation for 1 minute. Thank you. I once again welcome you to Indian Section Online platform. Today our subject is based upon the TS manuals. As we know, there are 7 manuals. Out of that 7 manuals, one important manual is Karma. And our speaker is Sister Aban Patel from Bombay. She is now the president of Bombay, that lodge, Shanti Lodge. She is very well known to each and everyone who are here, but for a few, I am going to introduce Sister Abanji. Sister Aban Patel is a graduate of Bombay University with English literature as her special subject. She is a trained teacher too. After working as a teacher for about 7 years, she took up banking job and retired as bank official after putting on a long service of 35 years. She joined Blavatsky Lodge, Mumbai in 2012. However, her love for teaching did not end. So when she was asked to take up study classes at Blavatsky Lodge, those who have not seen, it is worth to see the Blavatsky Lodge. It is just like a Taj Mahal to the whatever structure the Indian section or the in India available to us. So she agreed and started teaching, means disseminating theosophy in Blavatsky Lodge since 2013 till date. She has been taking study classes. Her skill in teaching different subjects and books of theosophy speaks volumes. Sister Aban is on the managing committee of Blavatsky Lodge and she is the president of Shanti Lodge. She is also a member of Bombay Theosophical Federation Council. She has attended schools of wisdom Adair as well as different study classes, Banaras. In January 2021, at the request of the president of Ojai Valley Theosophical Society, California, USA, she gave a talk on the history of Zoroastrianism and teachings of Zoroaster in light of theosophy, which is available now in the booklet format. The said talk is now printed in a book, Zoroastrianism. She has been speaker on Tuesday Triveni program started by Brother Taral Munshi, who is available now here, of Jyoti Lodge, Mumbai. Sister Aban is a senior active member of Lions Club of Babulnath since last 25 years. She is devotee of Avatar Meher Baba, and she is the opinion that his teachings helped her in enhancing her studies in Theosophy and vice versa. Her contribution to Theosophy is in words of Blavatsky: knowledge increases in proportion to its use. That is, the more we teach, the more we learn. The more we teach, more we learn. So, Sister Aban's subject today is karma. She will complete that book. Very simple little, but a very difficult book, collecting from the book originally written for the BG members of Theosophical Society by Dr. Annie Besant. So with this introduction, now I welcome Sister Aban to start today's program. Welcome, Aban.
Thank you, Brother Pradip ji, for a nice introduction for me. Now I will start my talk with my Avastha Bani. Ayyasa nemangaha ustano jasto rafedraya mai ushmasda pauravim spentayasha vispengashotanam vange hushkaratum manangoya khashne visha geurachauem. To him I pray with humble, grateful heart and hands uplifted for the perfect bliss. O Mazda's Holy Spirit, first I pray through Asha, so true knowledge I gain, and then to Vahumanas, loving wisdom too, and thus bring solace to the soul of the earth and to the world large. Amen. My today's subject has been given to me, of course, by Pradip ji on Theosophical Manual 4, Karma, by Dr. Annie Besant. This karma is accepted by one and all, with exception of here and there. Dr. Besant has gone deep into this subject to know and then to explain to us how this law works. Birth after birth, till all our karmas are worked out. So before going straight to this aspect of karma, where we say, usually, as you sow, so shall you reap. In Gujarati we say, kar ane jo. In Hindi we may say, jaisi karni, vaisi bharni. All this is true. But we have to see how this law works. Dr. Besant has emphasized in a few aspects the nomenclature of them. We all know, and maybe knowing meaning also, but to recapitulate, I would like to give a little definition about these words, which we will be hearing during this talk many a times. One thing I want to tell you, we are all learning. There is no teacher, there is no taught. Anyone can teach me and everyone can hear me. So this is, we are going together, and so I hope you would not mind if I just give definition of these nomenclature, because I know there are many experts of theosophy sitting here, but there are many others who need to know what it is. Now, the words that we will be coming regularly is elementals, elemental kingdoms, or elemental essence. Now, what are these elementals that play such a big part in creation of our karmas, good or bad? The meaning of elemental, basic, fundamental, elementary aspect that we all know. According to theosophy, we have three elemental kingdoms. Taral bhai, if you can show the image of my...
Sure. Is it visible?
Yes. Thank you very much, Taral bhai. Now, yes, thank you. According to theosophy, we have three elemental kingdoms. Two elemental kingdoms. Can you see here? EK. EK is elemental kingdom, first and second, in mental plane. In mental plane, we have two elemental kingdoms and one astral. Now, in mental plane, the higher mental is Rupa level, formless level, and lower mental is Rupa level, form level. Whereas third elemental is astral, in astral plane. So we can say that elemental essence is working at mental and astral levels. And so, since our karma created first thought and then turned in words and turned into action, it is very important that we know what they are and how it is interrelated. Bishop Leadbeater in Inner Life says, I quote, elemental essence is that strange, half-intelligent life which surrounds us in all directions, is not differentiated into stable or persistent forms. They exist with astral and mental worlds. It is a kind of instinct which guides it into getting what it wants. That means what these elemental wants, they guide us. It is a part of divine life just as you are, but it's are diametrically opposed to yours. It wants to evolve downwards. These apples want to evolve down, whereas we want to evolve upwards. It desires to preserve its separate life, and it feels it can do so only by means of its connection with us. It's conscious of something which is our lower mind and realizes that if it can go, as it were, this mind and persuade us that its interest and yours are one, you will increasingly supply sensation it deserves. That means whether it is good sensation, whether they are good desire or bad, if we give importance to it, these elemental kingdoms, though they are not very highly developed, but still they will entangle us. They will take our thought, mind into their hold, and then our life becomes miserable. I'll just read. When it gets the matter sufficiently entangled to suit its purpose, you cannot avoid it. Result being that some of this matter of the lower mind is then lost to you altogether. life after life. So much power these elementals have. So this is what elementals are. Another important factor we have to keep in mind is that these elementals communicate with each other in color language and respond to vibrations of smell, sound, and light. They do not communicate through spoken words. Hence, sound, light, and colors are the main factors and means of their communication. Now, I will enlarge this. Why? Smell. Now, if we have a prayer or a mandir, a temple, wherever it is, where prayers are being done, you will have always nice smell, either sandalwood or loban or agarbatti, whatever is there, it will give a nice aroma. And so, and this aroma, which is so good, along with the sound of our shlokas, our prayers mixed together, it gives a very good colors also, which we may not be able to see, but who are clairvoyants, they can see it. So smell, sound, and light. So everywhere, even in our homes, where we have a small temple or a small altar, we will have a deep diya or a candle, that is light. Then we will have incense, this agarbatti, and especially, lead beater, Bishop Leadbeater, and in those days, and he had given some Indians of which agarbattis are made in Adyar. And these ingredients attract this all around and they keep away the evil vibrations. And that is why we must always have very sober, light aroma of agarbattis and not strong smell. Another thing is smell, sound, and light. Now, sound. Every religion has bells. We at home also have a bell, small bell, ghantadi, vagadiye. When we do the mandir, first thing we do is to ring the bell. These sounds, and remember, these bells are also made of certain metals. And these metals, when they come in contact with the sound, it creates a different environment than what dhol tasa bajat जब हम लोग रास्ते पर देखते हैं. उससे अलावा these bells create a lot of soothing effect for longer period. So smell, agarbatti, sound, bells, light, diya, all these things, they communicate with these things. So if we have thoughts and if we have positive thinking, with these chanting of shlokas, we will have better vibrations all around us. That is why homes, we usually, and another thing, color, how color affects, pastel colors. We will see that we will always have in our homes, the walls are colored with pastel colors, light pink, light yellow, green, never heavy, dark maroon or black colors. So these are few things, if we keep in mind, then my talk, when I give, it will become easy for you and for us all to understand. I have Taralbhai jara nanu kari do, so that it will not disturb me a lot, and I will side by side kari shakso Maria. Anyway, this is okay.
You are side by side.
हाँ, પેલા આપણે કેમ બે મોઢા બતાવીએ તેવી રીતે એક આ બતાવો ને એક મોઢું બતાવો. That is also okay. Thank you very much. So now you have seen these elementals, and they want to push us down, whereas we want to go up and up and up from these planes, from physical to astral to mental to Buddhic. But these elements, when they take us in there, they will bring us down from mental to astral to physical, and I don't know where.
Archana,
Now, my talk, yeah, thank you very much.
कैसा दिख रहा है बता?
बस बराबर है. My talk today, I have divided into 3 parts. Generation of karma, which I will be talking today. Second, that will be on 1st May, because this book, though it is 6 inches by 4 inches, and if you see, it's a very small book. Can you all see? A very book, 6 by 4 inches and only 80 pages. So I thought, what I can do within a day, within 1 session. But no, it is written by Dr. Annie Besant, a great writer, speaker, a great lady who has given us the basis of philosophy along with many others. And so I have divided my subject into 3: generation of karmas, that is today; making and working of karmas, that will be next Sunday, 1st; and third part, facing, molding, and ceasing, stop to make any more karmas. That will be on 15th May and not on 8th, because you all know it is our Madame Blavatsky. Now, at my talk. When we are considering the life of man, we have 3 principal forces to take into account, all limiting and limiting one another. The steady pressure of evolution, the law of cause and effect, which we call karma, that is the second one. First is steady pressure of evolution. Second, the law of cause and effect, which karma, and free will of a man. The action of evolutionary forces has, so far as we can see, no reference whatsoever to the man's fear or pain, but only to his progress, or rather his opportunities for progress. Karma appears as the manifestation of the action of the man's free will in the past. He has accumulated energies which either afford opportunities for the evolutionary force or limit it in its operation. Then the man's present use of such free will as he possesses is the third factor. All things are governed by laws of one kind or another. Even insignificant business concerns and public institutions have their laws and cannot function without them. This is even true of the universe. It may seem sometimes as if the universe is not subject to any self-justice law, and sometimes it appears as if sincere toil were lost, the virtuous condemned to suffer, and the vicious endowed with power and success. We see this in our day-to-day life. But this fragile and false view is derived from ignorance of the law of karma. Every thought of man, upon evolved, passes into inner world and becomes an active entity by associating itself with an elemental, that is to say, with one of the semi-intelligent forces of the kingdoms. It survives active intelligence, a creature of the mind's begetting, for a longer or a short period proportionate with the original intensity of the cerebral action which generated it. That means our mind which has generated the thought. Thus, thought is perpetuated as an active, beneficent power, and evil one as a maleficent demon, devil. And so, man is continuously sending his current in space with a world of his own, crowded with the offspring of his fancies, desires, impulses, and passions. A current which reacts upon any sensitive or nervous organism which comes in contact with it in proportion to its dynamic intensity. We call this karma. Now, the invariability of law. Annie Besant has gone from one idea to the other, and accordingly I am speaking. Invariable, unaltered, uniform law. We live in realm of law that we are surrounded by law we cannot break. This is truism. But when a man is faced with certain problems, a certain sense of helplessness overpowers him, and he thinks that some mighty power whirls him away somewhere he does not know. But in fact, it is not so, because nature is conquered by obedience. Nature is conquered by obedience, and therefore, if we work with nature, they will be at our bidding. Nature never betrays us. It is we are betrayed by our own blindness. In all worlds, in one thing. Here I would like to point out the recent phenomenon, global warming. We have massacred our forest, our rivers, our oceans, dirtied them. As a result, what we are getting? Global warming. Now, we are getting what we had done in the last many years, and nature can do this flooding and earthquake and fires and whatnot within a second. So, if we do according to nature, we get better things. But if we disturb the nature, we are finished. And we are this. In all worlds, increasing knowledge means increasing power. When we become knowledgeable with all these gadgets and all that, we think we have got power. But it is not so. That law should be invariable in the and moral worlds as in the physical is to be expected. Since the universe is the emanation of the one, capital O, O-N-E, one, and what we call is but the expression of the divine nature. As there is one life emanating all, so there is one law sustaining all. The worlds rest on this rock of the divine nature as on a secure, immutable foundation. That law of oneness. We have our prayer, which we all do every time, the last para, all in oneness. Doctrine of Karma explains that advancement of well-being is the results of well-doing. If you are doing well-being, it is the result of well-doing. But there should be no mistake as to exactly what is meant well-doing and well respectively. The object of the entire is, so far as we are concerned, the evolution of humanity, and consequently, the man who does best is he who does the most. What most? To help forward the evolution of others as well as his own. So the most of the important things to go ahead with the evolution, and if we do something good for our betterment, automatically others are also benefited and vice versa. These are likely to be accompanied by I will repeat, the man who does this to the utmost extent of his power and opportunity in one life will certainly find himself in the next in possession of greater power and wider opportunities. These are likely to be accompanied by worldly wealth and power, because the very possession of wealth power usually gives opportunity required, but they are by no means a necessary part of the karma. And it is important for us to bear in mind that the result of usefulness, service, is always the opportunity for further and wider usefulness. And we not consider the occasional concurrence of that opportunity as the reward of the work done in last incarnation. Now, the planes of nature. We have here all these planes ready. The study, the working of karma, as said earlier, we must gain a clear conception of the place or regions of the universe, the principles related to them. We all know that the lowest bodies are physical, the gross body. Ascending, going up, is the astral, and then the mental, lower mental. And the three higher bodies are higher mental, buddhic, that is higher is also called causal body, buddhic or institutional body, and the atma, which is spiritual body. Now, matter on the planes is not the same, and the matter of each plane is denser, higher, it is subtle, less subtle, more, I'm sorry, here it is very subtle, that means fine, it can be traced. Then here a little grosser, more grosser, and more in the physical. So now the matter on the not the same, and the matter of each plane is denser than that of the one above it. This is according to the analogy of the nature. For evolution in its downward course is from rare to dense, from subtle to gross. Now I told you. For vast hierarchies of beings inhabited these planes, ranging from the lofty intelligences of the spiritual region to the lowest conscious elementals of the physical world. On every plane, spirit and matter are conjoined, they are together. Every spirit and matter are joined in every particle, having matter as its body, spirit as its life. And all independent aggregation of particles, all separated forms of every kind, of every type, are ensouled by these living beings, varying in their grades according to the grade of the form. The entities with which we shall deal today are psychic, that is astral, and on the astral plane, because these give to man his body of desire, and lower mental, kama rupa, his sensation, as it is often called, are indeed into its astral womb and vivify his astral senses. They are form elementals or rupa devatas of the animal. They are the of the changes which transmute vibrations into sensations. The most salient characteristics of the karmic elemental, KMIC, karmic, calm, is sensation. The power of not only answering to the vibrations, but feeling of them. And the psychic astral plane is crowded with these entities of degrees of consciousness who receive impacts of every kind and find them into sensation. Now, to make it easier, I will just say, suppose if a man who is fond of drinks, but only social drinking, but he loves to drink. So when he, suppose, passes by a pub or a bar, he sees of the bottles of whiskey and rum and wine and not. His sensations becomes very, very acute. He can't hold his instinct of not to drink. He enters into the pub and glass after glass he takes it. So this is what these elementals try to do. With this little bit of example, you can understand that instead of getting our willpower, bring that time into action, we succumb to our sensations and everything is lost. Man's conscious functions normally on the psychic astral plane and even in the higher psychic regions where mind is working. It is mind intermingled with calm, pure mind not functioning in this astral plane. The astral plane is thronged with elementals, to those which enter into the desire body of man. And astral is a desire body also. It is which also form the simpler desire body of the lower animal. Sometimes man becomes like an animal and he does things in that situation you cannot imagine. Nowadays, we have been hearing about rape and what cruelty they do. Instead of something wrong and leaving it, they do so much of cruelty which we cannot imagine. So the animal sensation comes into the man's mind due to these elementals and makes the job which he not have done otherwise. He, by his will, by his desire, by his emotions, he influences countless beings which sensitively respond to all the thrills of feelings that he sends out in every direction. Now, if he's passing by instead of a pub, by a mandir, he takes shoes or chappals, his hands and does prayer, what love sensation he will get. So these are the different things which will happen if we do not succumb to these elemental action. Now, here we come to the generation of thought forms. Because if there are thoughts in our mind, then only we will do that action. And if thoughts are good, the forms are nice, pleasant, we will do different things. Otherwise, you know what it is. As you all, the elemental kingdoms are made of numerous bubbles, atoms, which gave quality to matter and then build forms from the matter. And these forms, we call them 7 kingdoms. These are the 7 kingdoms, 3 elemental, 1, 2, 3. These are the elementals, and 4th physical, 5th astral, central, and 7th Buddhic. So these are the planes we are dealing with, and they are more important in life for our evolution. And of course, later on, Buddhi ke baad nirvana and all that, to pachi apne add up bani jaisu. So that is little far away at present. These 3 elemental kingdoms are the nascent center of life, which I have already told you earlier, where much higher aspects of deity lived, which could not be seen, felt, as they had no form, and they do not use words for their communication. They were all divine lights. Each of the bodies, mental and astral, has a life and consciousness of its own. Body consciousness of the astral body is called desire elemental. Astral elemental is called desire elemental, and of the mind is called mental elemental. The mind, working in its own region, in the subtle matter of the higher psychic plane, generates images, thought forms. There is another book about images and thought forms and all. I'm not going deep into it, but this is just a reference. Imagination has been very acutely called the creative faculty of mind. Imagination is called creative faculty of mind. The image-making capacity is the characteristic power of mind. We do our best thinking in symbols and then summarize our symbols into words. For example, when we see symbol of Om, we at once and say it must be Hinduism, or it's a universal voice, or a symbol of a cross. We at once say it belongs to Christianity. A speaker puts into words such part of his mental pictures as he can, and these words call up in hearer's mind pictures corresponding to those in the mind of the hearer. To make it easy, I will just say that if I say to my friend, oh, I would like to have a Coke, my who hears this, uske dimag mein Coke ka bottle aa jayega immediately. So that is symbol changed into words, or words changing into symbols. But the mind deals with the pictures, the images, not the words. Mind deals with pictures, images, not with the words. And most of the misunderstandings arise that come about because people attach different images to the same words or use different words to represent the same image. Now, I'll give you another example. Suppose I'm passing by a church with my friend and then hear the sermon given by the priest or the pastor who in the mass gives the sermon. And I will just say, oh, what a sermon. I appreciate it. But I will just say, oh, what a sermon. Now, my friend who is passing with me, she may say, my goodness, this lady is a Zoroastrian, and because this is Christianity, then she says that this sermon may be not. That is why she said, what a sermon. Actually, I'm something else. So words create a lot of problems and so many misunderstandings. You all must have realized this in your life. This is nothing new, but I'm just giving you an example. It takes so long to make friends, but it just snap of a finger, because of one small misunderstanding, of years gets broken. A thought form is a mental image created or molded by the mind out of the subtle matter, higher psychic plane in which it works. This form composed of the rapidly vibrating atoms. We are surrounded by atoms which vibrate all the time, inside as well as outside. The rapidly vibrating of the matter of that region sets up vibrations around it. These vibrations give rise to sensation of sound and color. As I told you earlier, that when there is a ceremony is going on where the fire is there and the priest is chanting the shlokas, and because of the fire, the colors start coming out in connection with those shlokas, and then the whole atmosphere becomes holy and pure. Elementals, like all things in universe, belong to one or other of the 7 primary rays, Arevas rays. The 7 primal sons of light. There are elementals belonging to the various subdivisions, and they are communicated with in color language, grounded on the color to which they belong. As I told you, there are dirty, black, gray, maroon colors. They create dirty vibrations. This is why the real knowledge of sounds and colors numbers has been so carefully guarded, for the will speaks to the elementals by these, and knowledge gives power to control. Master Kutumi speaks very plainly on this color language. He says, how could you make yourself understood, command in fact those semi-intelligent forces whose means of communicating us are not through spoken words, but through sounds and colors, in correlation between the vibrations of the two. For sound, light, and color are the main factors in forming grades of intelligence, those beings' very existence. You have no conception, no idea, nor are you allowed to believe in them, unquote. These elements are addressed by colors, and that color words are as intelligible to them as spoken words are to men. This I have already said. That is why in the beginning I made certain words and certain aspects clear. The hue of bringing color depends on the nature of the motive inspiring the generator of the thought form. If the motive be pure, loving, beneficent in its character, the color produced will summon to the thought form an elemental which will take on the characteristics impressed on the form by the motive and act along line thus traced. The element enters into the thought form, playing to it part of soul, and thus an entity is made in the astral world, an entity of beneficent character. If the motive on the other hand be impure, revengeful, maleficent in character, the color produced will summon to the thought form an elemental which will make an entity of maleficent character. Now here again, I'll give you some examples. Our prayers, Amans, our shlokas, they create colors when read in a proper, loud manner. As we would sing them, the colors are formed, and these colors are so strong that they may even heal you. People who are healers, they know that these colors are very beneficent. If the colors are pastel, light in hue, they are beneficent. but gray, black, maroon, the opposite. Clairvoyants can see flashes of constantly changing in the aura that surrounds every person. Each thought, each feeling, thus translating itself in the astral world, visible to the astral sight. Persons somewhat more developed than the ordinary clairvoyant can also see the thought forms and can see the effects produced by the flash of color among the modes of elementals. Now, activity of thought form. The life period of these ensouled thought forms depends on their initial intensity, on the energy bestowed upon them by the human progenitor, that is, the one who creates the thought. And secondly, on the nutriment supplied to them after generation by the relation of the thought by him or by others. Their life may be continually reinforced by this repetition, and thought which is brooded over by meditation acquires great stability or form on the psychic plane. So again, the thought forms of a similar character are attracted to each other and mutually strengthen each other, making a form of great energy and intensely active in this astral world. Same example, mass prayers in the churches, in mandirs, ham mandagi, in temples, all these because the mass sound, which is so good, which has created such lovely colors, these elementals will not come that side. Or even if they come, they will not harm you, or they will entangle you only in the good way, which is rare for these elementals. They pull you down always. Thought forms are connected with their creator like magic tie. They react upon him, producing an impression which leads to their reproduction. And where a thought form is reinforced by repetition, a very definite habit of thought may be set up. Mold may be formed into which thought will readily flow, helpful if it's of a very lofty character, as a noble ideal, but for the most part, helping and hindrance to mental growth. Here I can say, due to the worries, if a person is worrisome, एक विचार लाइने तेनु रटन करिया करे, उसका ही मगज में लेकर worry किया करता, he goes on worrying. I don't know the Hindi word for worry, maybe, whatever it is. He goes on worrying. And chinta, yes, chintan. Chintan is a different thing, and chinta is a very different word. So, what is worry? Worry is nothing but a rocking chair. Remember, पहले ऐसा rocking chair आती थी. Worry is like a rocking chair, moves all the time. It goes on moving, but takes you nowhere. You just sit on the chair and go on rocking yourself, but it will take nowhere. So worry is like that. So we should not, if a worrisome thought comes, just take it out. Say your prayers. Take the name of your guru or your God, whatever it is, masters, and you will benefit. Thought forms may also be directed by their creator towards particular person who may be held injured by them, according to the nature of the ensouling elemental. We don't have, many times, some people have the habit of saying some negative things. Then we say, "Arey bhai, shubh shubh bolo. Ye kya bolta hai? Shubh shubh bolo." Say something, because we all know that good words will always have good effect. These things we are doing in day-to-day life, but Annie Besant has told us why we were doing it and how it is helpful to us. Why we should not do? It is not beneficial to us. So thought forms may also be directed by the creator towards particular person who may be helped or injured by them according to the nature of the ensouling elemental. It is therefore very true that good wishes, prayer, and loving thoughts are valuable to those to whom they are sent. They form a protective cover and ward off many evil influence and danger for others. That is why always think positively, and when you have your relations, children, your own people away from you, go on sending good thoughts to them, so that even if they have any problems, because of our strong thoughts that we are sending, they will come out of it. We may not know, they may not know, but nature goes on doing its work immensely. If a man's thoughts are pure noble, he will attract him beneficent entities and wonder how he put so much goodwill, which may be beyond his own. He may be coming out like an intelligent person all of a sudden. His speech so good. Manma vichar kare, I had never thought of speaking like this. How did it happen? This is because of the good thoughts. If you send good thoughts to them, you will equally receive good thoughts from others. Similarly, it could be vice versa. If these thoughts are evil and base, they will attract bad entities, and by this added energy for evil may even commit crime. That will astonish him, and some devil must have tempted me to do this, like going to the bar and drinking some more glasses of beer or whiskey and all that. Some devil, his willpower has gone, so devil has entered. There is another form of mental activity that brings about widespread results and not therefore be excluded from this preliminary survey of the forces that go to make up karma. These forms send the current which reacts upon any sensitive or nervous person which comes in contact with it in proportion to its dynamic intensity. Elementals have a tendency to be attracted towards others of similar kind, aggregating together in being in a sense gregarious on their own account, attract similar type of thought forms and create either good or evil form on astral plane. This is very easy to understand. When this collective entity is made of thought forms of a destructive type, when there is too much of destructive ideas going around, and when nature is destroyed, they often work much havoc on the physical plane, like a natural disaster, like storms, cyclones, earthquakes, floods, or even man-made disaster as war and destruction of men and even nations. What Hitler did half a century ago, Putin is doing now. It's so sad. Now we'll come. We have done exhaustive work on thought forms because they are very closely connected with karmas. So making of karma in principle, having thus realized the relation between man and the elemental kingdom and the molding of the mind, we are in a position to partially understand something of the generation and working out of karma during a single life period. Now, what is the single life period? By life period, it means a little cycle of human existence with its physical, astral, and devachanic expression. Physical, astral, mental, and devachanic, that means causal, higher mental experience.
Abanji, how long you will
And,
take? Hello.
sorry,
How long you will take complete?
I'll take another 10 minutes. Or should I stop here?
It is within 5 minutes you can complete. Or next we can go for next
Okay,
session.
okay. I will finish in 5 minutes. This one making of the karma in principle, and then we will stop.
Okay.
I'll stop here if you want, and I'll continue next week.
No, you complete that portion
Okay.
also.
Having thus realized the relation between man and the elemental kingdom and the molding of the mind, we are in a position to at least partially understand something of the generation and working out of karma during a single life period, which I explained to you, that we can go from physical, astral, causal, that is Devachanic, and then come back and take rebirth in the real world. By the 4 distinct stages through which the soul passes in order to complete its cycle. These stages are retrodden, visited over and over again during the journey of the eternal pilgrim through our present humanity. And however much the experience in each such period may vary, both as to quantity and quality, the period will include these 4 stages for the average human and none others. It is important to realize that the soul resides out of the physical body for far more prolonged period than in it, and working of the karmic law will not properly be understood unless the activity of the soul in the non-physical condition be studied. Let us recall the words of the Master, pointing out that the life out of body is the real one. Quote, the Vedantins acknowledging 2 kinds of existence, the terrestrial, that is earthly, and the spiritual, point only to the latter, that is spiritual as an undoubted actuality. As to the terrestrial life, owing to its changeability and shortness, it is nothing but an illusion of our senses. Maya, that is all. In the spiritual sphere must be thought an actuality, because it is there that lives are endless, never changing, and immortal. The Sutra. This is why we call the posthumous life the life only reality, and the terrestrial one, including personality itself, only imaginary. I think I'll stop here, though I have some more to speak, but since there is time, sir, I will continue this in my next talk.
Yes, yes.
Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I'm very sorry for taking more time. But
no, it is because we have yes.
The subject matter was such that it wanted a little more explanation from my side also, apart from the book.
Okay. So very nice presentation on karma in our daily life, how elemental 1, 2, 3 are working all in their evolution journey. So also how we will help ourselves by our evolutionary journey. Any kind of addition from the participant who are here, or any question? Amanji will give you answer to any question that come to.
I think I've said so many things now.
Yes.
This can be seen on a YouTube also, no, sir?
Yes. Direct as well as store it, and also in Theosophy India, one can see afterwards also.
Naveen said something.
Yes,
Naveen.
Naveen.
There are 3.
Naveen bhai, can you?
Naveen Kumar.
Sister Aban, very nice listening to you, and it was a good revision of your favorite chart, which you always show to us in our theosophical meetings. And so it's a good revision of the various planes in which the creation is divided and our various bodies, including the influence of the elementals. And I have, as I have put on the chat board, this book I have put on the TS group, on WhatsApp group. So anyone who is interested in browsing through the books, through this particular book, can see on the TS Mumbai group. And I have also put on the chat board the 3 absolute truths which theosophical literature has given to us. They are contained in the book Idyll of the White Lotus. And the 3rd truth mentions that man is actually the absolute lawgiver of his future. And so this will be very relevant when you take up the second part, in my view, when you will explain how the law of karma works. So this is all that I have to say, and overall very nice kind of introduction to theosophical ideas on a beautiful Sunday. Nice to hear you. Thank you, sister.
Thank you very much, sir. You have been always a great inspiration to me. And because of your appreciation, my all colleagues who have been hearing me since last so many years, their appreciation has made me do more hard work so that I can be of some help to everyone. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry for extending my time, but the subject is such. But never mind, I'll take it next Sunday.
Okay.
Then on 15th.
Yes.
Try to be precise now.
Yes, Taralji, do you have anything to say?
I have 2 things to say. The book which Navinji just mentioned, I have put the link on the chat box, so everyone can copy it and go to the book. Navinji, I have kept it on the chat box. You can please check. And secondly, I just want to add something about the Triveni meet this week. We have been trying to have all the federations also now joining here. So this time it is Karnataka, Gujarat and Mumbai federations meet. Last time we had Malayalam meet. Before that we had Odia meet also. So now it is in 3 languages. The law of sacrifice in Kannada, Hindi and English. Sandhya Rani will speak in English. GS Lalita, new speaker introduced by Kannada. And Rudrakshi Dev, a very young and bright student. She had exams, so she was away from Triveni. Now she is back again. Pradip ji, she is very brilliant. You can also view it. And her command on Hindi and subject is amazing. So TS Triveni meet is always trying to get youngsters also together on the same level. By sacrifice, the universe is maintained. By sacrifice, the man reaches perfection. By sacrifice, the dawn happens every day. And every religion that springs from ancient wisdom has sacrifice as central teaching. More on these both books, Ancient Wisdom, of course, the law of sacrifice is a part of it, but there is an entire another book written by Annie Besant on the law of sacrifice itself. So we'll have a nice study in 3 languages. I have put the link in the chat box, also WhatsApp number of Triveni meet. Anyone who wishes to have regular links can say a hi to me on that. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Pradip ji, for letting me share this.
Thank you. Then Professor C.S. Sindhe, sir, are you available? No, he is attending another program. Okay. Ramanji, you are anything to add? Secretary?
Yeah, it was a very interesting presentation.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, sir. Now I request Mithalini ji to close with a closing prayer.
Namaste to all. असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मां अमृतंगमय सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु न कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ